Um, it was good. Before I get into the game, obviously, I'd like to give my condolences again to Nick Nurse and his family. That's tough. That's bigger than what we're doing right now, and I truly feel for him and the rest of his family. But what he's trying to do, getting his team ready to play basketball games while dealing with that, I don't know how anybody does it. It's tough. So again, passing my condolences along to him and his family. Our guys did a good job. We knew that they were going to be energized by the crowd, especially being down 0-2. They're a great team. They weren't going to lay down. They were going to bring a little extra. We knew the crowd was going to help them bring a little extra, and they jumped out and they kind of punched us in the mouth to start the game. Our guys settled down and they figured it out the next 3 quarters after that first one went by. But great response by our group. They're resilient. They've been through a lot as a veteran group, and it showed tonight. Did a good job trying to show our hands and not send them to the free throw line. We did a good job of trying to get back in transition and not allow them to take advantage of us in the open court. And then, we were really good on the offensive glass, and we were pretty good in transition ourselves. And, trying to win the possession game, especially on the road, was huge. And we didn't get it done in the turnover department, but in the free throw department and in the second chance or offensive rebound department, we did a pretty good job, and that's what helped us win this game on the road. Our fourth quarter defense, again, was really good, especially versus a great team. I would be not doing my job if I didn't point out, the continued work that Mikal is doing at the point of attack when it comes to Maxey. Maxey's a great player. You're not going to stop him. You hope he misses a few shots, but you got to give multiple efforts while guarding him. And Mikal's busting his behind, trying to do that, trying to make it tough on him while giving it to us offensively. So again, I applaud Mikal. I also applaud our defense behind Mikal too. And then, like I said, you got to get a little lucky with great players, and you got to hope they miss some shots. I would also be wrong if I didn't talk about our bench, in particular 2 players. I thought Mitch Robinson was huge for us. He was huge. We ran him longer in stretches at times than what we normally do, but he was great in both directions for us. He was big for us throughout the course of the game. And then Landry Shamet. Landry hasn't played a drop all playoffs. I think the first game he was in the rotation, and then the second game a little bit, and then he was out. And and that's 6-7 games, whatever it is, that he hasn't seen any significant minutes on the court. And Landry was huge for us tonight. He was huge on both ends of the floor. We needed a spark from somebody when we were down, and they hit us in the mouth, and Landry gave it to us. It was a big game on the road. And it didn't faze him, and that was a lot of fun to watch.
Mike, this is, to speak to Landry again, this is kind of the third instance this season where a guy has been put on ice for a little bit and then steps up to the plate and hits a home run. What does that say not only about the type of veterans you guys brought into this club, but even just the kind of culture you've tried to cultivate here and staying ready, being prepared, and things of that nature?
As a coach, you love to see it. And that's why you give different guys opportunities at different times. Sometimes you start Landry, sometimes you start Mo, sometimes you start this guy. And what hopefully it shows at the end of the day coming from me is that I have confidence in them. And not only that, your number can be called anytime, so be ready. And our guys have taken that to heart. We got a lot of good guys that are resilient, they're fighters. And they've done a good job of keeping their mind or staying present in whatever we're doing and it's showing when they go out there and get the opportunity. And so, it, showed with Jordan, it showed with Jose, it showed with Landry. And so I applaud all those guys for staying present, staying ready, but I also applaud their teammates for keeping them uplifted, because it takes everybody to show that support throughout tough times or times when you don't play, when you're expecting to play. So just a fantastic job by Landry tonight, by those other guys prior to tonight.
Mike, you talked about Mikal at point of attack on Tyrese.
Yeah.
Looks like times you also used him on Paul after Paul got off early.
Yeah.
And I think even there was a couple times in a row he was guarding Embiid. Just was he giving you a little bit of the OG thing of just guarding everybody who's needed on?
Yeah, obviously with OG out, we were down a big wing, and so Mikal had to take that part over. Now, we're not switching Mikal necessarily on Embiid, but if it happens, he's just got to play him without fouling. And Mikal did a lot of good tonight defensively, no matter who he guarded, and he was big in helping us get the win because of it.
Guys, a little bit there in the second quarter, I guess, what kind of happened and what allowed New York to just go on the run they did?
Yeah, we were. It was just a big run of the same thing. Us not scoring, them playing in transition, them scoring, us playing against half-court defense. Probably about 10 out of the first 14 possessions, and it just they were up the floor in semi-transition and making some good reads and making some shots, obviously, and we just didn't keep the scoreboard moving enough to get our defense set.
The bench unit, just obviously they weren't able to get going until the fourth quarter. I guess what do you have to do to kind of get the bench going a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, just try to find the right combinations of who stays and who comes in, and try to make sure we generate some makeable shots and things like that. I think that's I think it kind of started a little bit at the end of the first there, where we made some subs and we didn't hold the water very good there going at the end of the first, and then again at the start of the fourth we kind of got ourselves right back in the game. In the start of the fourth, Brunson was having a good game, so we decided to blitz him a little bit, and they scored, I think, on 3 straight blitzes. Yeah.
On Paul, a couple games in a row now, he's gotten off to pretty great starts and then really tailed off. I think 6 for 9 in the first quarter and then 0 for 9 the rest of the way. Is there anything in the shots he's taking as the game goes on, the way that they're adjusting their defense against him as the game goes on, that you think is contributing to that, or do you more chalk that up to just the ebbs and flows of a game?
I think there's probably a couple, mixed in there that are tough, but he's also made a lot of those tough ones early in the game too. I think he did have a couple tough looks there as the game went on, but I thought he also had a couple decent looks. I mean, I got to look at it. I just got to get him in some better situations. I think the post-ups and stuff we've done, he's gotten some good looks and made those. He did have a couple more of those as the game went on and just didn't go in. But just got to keep him getting him in the ball in some places where he likes it. Yeah.
You obviously know the history of no teams ever come back from down 0-3. Just kind of what's your message to the group, both in the immediate aftermath of this one and then moving forward before Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, you get in a situation like this, I mean, all you can do is try to get the next one and then see what happens, right? I mean, I know that's pretty obvious, but it turns to, if you can get one, it turns to 3-1 pretty quick, right? And you don't have to think about it being 3-0 anymore, but that's it's going to take. We're going to have to really dig in and regroup and make some adjustments and do things better. I mean, we obviously came out playing great. Then we went through a really bad stretch of defensive rebounding, I thought, and then a bunch of direct line drives. That rears its head a little bit in these playoffs for us. Thought it was a little better in the second half guarding the direct line drives than it was the first, but we just didn't score enough.
Nick, they were pretty aggressive in blitzing Tyrese throughout the game, but he only took 3 threes. I guess what do you attribute that to? And I mean, he said after game 2 that his finger had been jammed up a little bit.
Yeah, I have to check with him on that. I know late in the game I thought he had a couple swing around what normally he would have taken, and that he moved on to the next pass, which was also a really good shot. But I think anytime he's got one, we gotta hope he fires it. So I need to look at that. Again, and you mentioned it, they're putting 2 on him and chasing him around pretty hard and stuff. So they're going to limit his shots a little bit. We just need to make a little bit better plays out of him, a little bit better shot making out of those double teams.
Nick, I think it was 5 straight empty possessions towards the end of the third quarter when you got within 2, and then 4 maybe in the fourth quarter when you got within 4. How much pressure does the way that the Knicks execute offensively put on you when you have a couple empty possessions in a row?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was again a little bit of the same thing. They really took advantage of our defense there to start the fourth, right? So that means they read getting it out of Brunson's hands really well, and we didn't. And then thinking back, I feel like we had 2 open threes in that stretch too, and again that kind of seems to be our little bit of our bugaboo of keeping the scoreboard moving, or even going back to game 2, I thought we were generating some good shots. However, we had way too many physical bumped, lose the ball out of bounds things, right? That were turnovers. And those possessions just are killers in the playoffs. Yeah.
Coach, what can you